We're back, we're back, we're back. We're back from the holidays. We're ready to paint. What's gonna paint today? It's Plo Koon. Just bury the lead, Dallas, and mess up your song.
Happy New Year, Dallas.
Yeah, Happy New Year. New Year, new me.
New
it's
Koon.
It's the
New
same
Plo
old me.
Koon.
It's the same old me.
it's you.
It's the same old me. I was getting ready to paint. I don't know what we're doing anymore. It's been a month. And I kind of forgot.
Well, just look down there. It'll show you what you're doing.
Paint. We're
In the
painting.
title. Yeah.
Thanks for taking a break with us. Hope you had a great holiday, whatever holiday you celebrate with your family. I hope your loved ones got together and you had some cake or pie. I'm a pie person personally. I love pie. Cherry pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, blueberry pie, shepherd's pie. Yeah. We're paying Plo Koon. What?
Strawberry rhubarb?
Oh, I love strawberry rhubarb. Super good. As long as it's tart, like a tart strawberry rhubarb. It's gotta be yummy. Tart. We're paying Plo Koon today for our... I'm gonna do this. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Oh, good to see y'all back. Is it though? Like, we don't even know what we're doing. We're paying Plo Koon. I don't know if I'm going to do anything weird with him. I'm just going to get limbered back up, get back in the groove, get back in the year, just thinking about painting again, and just see where the paint takes us. So let's just put it over here on the mini cam, and let's paint some stuff. This is the hobby streams where we hobby all the time. And we do the painting of the miniatures on time. And sometimes we come up with a rhyme to go with times. Sometimes. Alright, I got some advanced flesh tone from... We're just going to start with the skin. I see we're painting the best Jedi. Plo Koon. One of the first cards we saw for a game is 1/4, which won't come up 8 or 9 months after first revealed. Well, yeah, we wanted to, like, when you start a new game that you've been working on for like 3+ years, you want to give it, the best chance that you can, and you have a lot of content, and you kind of give like people a glimpse of the future, and super important. So yeah, some stuff you saw early, but you haven't seen anything yet. We've only just begun to love. That's what his hand looks like. He's got a weird looking hand. He is probably... I know Preston's favorite Jedi is Plo Koon. And when we were doing the pose, Preston was very much wanting to capture that defensive, protective nature of Plo Koon. And we actually went through a couple iterations of this to kind of get him where we wanted him. I think that this version turned out really cool. I like this miniature a lot. So I'm just going to use advanced flesh tone, give it advanced flesh. I need to bring up he has very dark robes. Let's do warm brown, I think. Let's do warm brown. Aliens often look, alien. It's true. Except for whenever you have to like put an actor in a suit, and then you do what you can. Still bipedal. Put an actor in a suit, it's like you got a weird head and weird hands. You're an alien. think we have more of the squad coming on streams, don't we, Ann? I think.
Sorry, what was that? I couldn't hear you.
We're going to do more of this squad, Plo Koon squad on streams, aren't we, right? I think.
I
Just give it a little
believe
teaser.
so, although I'm not sure when in the schedule it is, but we have a lot of things to get through.
2024 is a busy year.
Yeah.
We've only just begun. I say that a lot about Atomic Mass Games is like, you think you've seen something? We've only just begun. We're just getting fired up.
I hadn't noticed his the pattern, like the filigree on his bracers was like the same as the Jedi Council floor.
Yeah, he's got the little Jedi Council fleur.
The fleur de Jedi.
The fleur de Jedi.
Allegedly.
The fleur de Jedi on his forearms. Really tricky to put those on there. I'm glad we got them pretty well represented, I feel. So. Bum, 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 bum. 90% humanoid, haha. I just want to paint the yellow orange saber he had on the PlayStation 1 Jedi Power Battles. Oh, cool. Bitterly cold. Heck yeah, it's cold. It's so cold here in Seattle. Like, the coldest it's been in like forever. It's the coldest it's been since I've lived here. My water pipes froze up. It was terrible. L Fire Spray is freaking out about Plo. It said Ultron drones. What said Ultron drones? Oh, did the description of the video say Ultron drones? Oopsies, doopsies. That just means we're presenting surprises for you. You never know what you're gonna get when you come to Atomic Mass Games. But you're always guaranteed a good time with some miniatures and paint. So did Wolf get the full budget of the tactical rock for the box? Yeah. I love that Wolf pose. It's super cool. What size brush am I using? I'm currently using just a Windsor size 1. Just a regular sable size 1. I could use a 2. I could use a 3. You just want something with a really good point. That's all it really matters. As I say, with this brush who has a terrible point because it's old and jank, and I forgot to replace it before the holidays, and then we come back for the holidays and it's been really busy, and then it's like, oh, we got paint today, and I'm like, oh no, I better grab my brushes, and then like, oh no, I forgot to replace my brushes, and I guess I'll use this one, and oops. Oopsie doopsies. Yeah, I think, it'll be a lot of fun to paint the wolf pack here with Mr. Master Plo. We've done the Padawan Ahsoka a couple times, I feel, on stream, so you will have seen this whole box at one point or another. L Firespray is painting Super Commandos today. That's pretty dope. We're going to use a little, I think, burnt orange. And let's do a little dark yellow green. You know, I didn't paint very much over the holiday. I built a ton of miniatures. I built like 30 miniatures over the holiday. And
That's kind of nice though, because then they're there when you.
Yeah,
want
they're
them.
ready. They're waiting. They're like, let's paint. I painted a couple. Green, green, green. I want, there's another green I want.
I tricked my partner into starting to assemble miniatures with me.
Ooh.
It's all a part of a grand plan.
Yeah.
To where he enjoys the assembly and I enjoy the painting, and maybe together we can really get something done.
Powers combined.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my partner and I we're planning a couple tables as our next projects. Loads of terrain. Loads of terrain being grokked in the house, and maybe one of the projects might show up at Main Extravaganza. Woo! I said the word. Well, yeah, we got a lot of terrain we want to work on. Because you got to make the terrain is such an important part of miniature games. Like, so we like making sure our tables are super cool. Will there be AMG folks at LVO? I don't think as an official thing. So we mix green in the base color flesh tone, and we're putting in shadows into the skin. Is the Wolfpack any of the wolf designs baked into the sculpt, or does Wolf Elite getting anxious at the moment think about freeing anything else? I'm trying to remember how those were sculpted. I think, Tony, if you're listening, I think the Plo Koon is on my current desk, not my real desk. If you find those, will you bring me them? Oh yeah, we have the. Oh man, what do we name that garage? I always forget what we name things because we like sometimes we like design stuff we don't have names for it, so I get to give them all code names.
It might be maintenance something.
The maintenance bay or the maintenance hangar.
I think it's maintenance bay.
Yeah, that's still coming. That's a cool piece. I really like that. It adds some real big centerpiece element. And of course, you know, if you've been following along, I've shown how to build some centerpiece elements as well by taking multiple kits and smashing them together. Because I really like centerpiece elements. You know, something about going into a game store and seeing people playing a game and they're just got these big, beautiful centerpieces. So inspiring. Amy, hello. Amy loves this miniature. We love this miniature. We love Koon. He's all heart. So this is the red and our base flesh tone that we chose mixed together. Going over top of the green. Adding that warmth into the skin. Green and red make brown. So it makes like a nice flesh tone.
Amy just posted today, I think, a picture of her Anakin Rex in the 501st that I adored on Twitter, I believe.
I haven't seen it yet.
I will make sure I send it your way.
I have a limit on how much social media I spend time with. So I haven't been on social media today, really. Just a little bit. Anne does not have any such limit.
No, I don't have a limit.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know who Amy is. I am familiar with her work. I try to keep up with everybody who's painting stuff. We forgot his fingers. The travesties. Twitch is totally social media, but this is work social media, not personal social media. His fingies. There's their little tickety tacks. Just a nice, quick base coat. Nothing too fancy. 'Cause it ain't gotta be the best, it just gotta be what I love and what I want to put on the table for when I play a game with my friends and family. That's all the songs today, Ann. Ann wasn't even ready for it. Ann did paint a lot over the holiday. That is a fact. I saw those.
Thank you. No, it was a ton of fun. I loved it. I felt healed by the ability to just put focus into a quiet activity.
That's the fun of painting. Is like you just get this little activity you get to do, right? Then you get to show it off in a game. Did you play a game?
No, but I set a time for a game, which, as everybody has said, is the perfect way to make sure that you paint stuff. So I'm preparing for a game next week. I got all my stuff painted for that game, and more on the way. But
Oh yeah, you gotta have painted.
I'm in terrain land myself, just like you said. But I'm doing a little bit of custom stuff, and then trying to get everything painted up so that I can have my home board look cool.
Yeah, we're working on a couple of different tables for a couple of different things. Because I want my home tables to be really cool, so when I have people over, right? Like, it's just like a nice like way to like. Well, first off, it's just respectful. You invite me to your house, Ann, and you don't have a fancy table painted up.
I wouldn't dream of inviting you there without being like, I made this for us to play on.
Yeah. Or showing up and your army's not painted. Woof.
No, my partner was like, we could have just played. And I was like, no.
Sir.
Dad says we can't just play.
Sir. This isn't chess.
I also started figuring out how I'm gonna like store all of the components and stuff so that I can have all of my work displayed where I can share it with people when they come over, and then all of the stuff where I need it when I want it, which is honestly real life inventory management for games is my happy place. I think I figured out over the holiday break too.
Yeah, we have a pretty small place, so we're trying to be real strategic about terrain, and it's important to pick and choose, and I have my games that I focus on, and everything else is just gone away. Gotta focus on the focus. What paints am I using? Currently using some Pro Acryl. So cold, I'm shaking today. The worthy is for Marvel Crisis Protocol only. As per the rules. Okay, mix a little heavy warm white with our base color we chose for the skin. We're going to use that to highlight now. I am using a wet palette. They are slightly thin or loose body, but the way I paint, it doesn't matter for the wet palette. A wet palette shouldn't really be making your paints wetter that much. If they're making it that wet, you probably got too much water on there. Like, they will make it slightly wetter, but really you want your wet palette to just keeping things loose. So my wet palette's not overly damp, but yeah, I'm just putting them straight from the bottle straight onto the wet palette and painting with them. But sometimes I like painting with a thin paint, sometimes I like painting with thick paint. I'm going to cheat on the fingers. I did like 3 different shades on the skin. I'm only going to do 1 on the fingers. I'm going to cheat. Because no one's going to know. And no one's going to care. And it doesn't really matter.
So that's a good question.
What's the question? I didn't look up. Fingers.
Elle asks, how are you preparing for your Adepticon classes, Dallas? And if you want to talk about those at any kind of length, go for it.
Well, Elle, that's a great question. Let me tell you how Dallas prepares for anything. He doesn't. God, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants. You know, have you ever seen those like nature documentaries where like it's usually like a duck. It's like the mama duck builds a nest, but for some reason the mama duck builds a nest like 50 foot up into a tree, and she has like the babies like 50 feet up in the air, and then like or on the side of a cliff or some nonsense. Like places where if I was looking around, I'd be like, that's not where you should build a house. But for some reason these ducks do this. And then this is like the baby ducks. They grow up and there's like time to fly, and they just launch themselves off a cliff. Or from, have you seen these videos of these ducks doing this? No? No, they just bounce and like land in water, and then they're fine. They're just like, yep, I plummeted 50 foot off a cliff and I bounced 8 times and I landed in the water and I'm perfectly fine.
Huh.
That is how I prepare for things.
Well, I would give yourself a little more credit than that, because obviously y'all work to plan out who was going to be teaching what and who was best suited to teach what, right?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay, just kidding.
No, we didn't.
Okay, I received something that seemed planned.
Oh, that was that. Okay, hang on. You know what? Hang on. Let me stop painting for a moment.
Okay, hold on. I'll put the camera back on you.
How'd this go? Hey, Brendan. Hey, Mark. We're going to do some paint classes. What would you like to paint? And Brendan going, well, and then Brendan gives like 50 answers. And I'm like, well, you don't get to teach 50 classes. He's like, yeah, but these are the options. And I'm like, you're overthinking it. Like, that's too much. TLDR, sir. TLDR. And then Mark is like, what if I just do one class twice? And I'm like, I like the way you think. And then I was like, I think I'm just going to teach like some true metallic metal on some dope Beskar and how to paint a Spider-Man really, really fast. And then everybody's like, hey, that sounds like we have a plan. And I'm like, that's a plan. That was the plan.
So you did plan.
Kind of, yeah. And then that's it. Like, how am I going to plan for the classes? Like, I'm just going to teach you how to paint Spider-Man with my heart.
See you at Adepticon, everybody.
It's with my heart. What are you talking about?
No, I know. I get it.
Like, oh, tell me about your syllabus. No.
Well, it's not really a syllabus. It's one class, right?
No,
like,
you need to join the class, and we're gonna make jazz. Like just pick up. What instrument do you play? I don't play an instrument. Great, pick up that bass. That's how we're doing this.
Slap it.
That's it.
All right.
That's how I've always taught classes. It's always worked out. It's how I do like 90% of my life.
Oh man.
I'm winging it here, kids. Fun fact. Yeah, that's what you learned today about baby ducks. I'm telling you, it's amazing videos. The mama duck just boots them out of their little cave, 50 foot up on the side of a cliff, and they're just like, Tiat! And they survive, and that's how they start life. And they're doing great, I'm sure. Crossing the pond ain't cheap. Yeah, understandable. It is totally, I will say, Adepticon is totally something that is worth, if you are anywhere miniature centric games, especially, you know what, I'm gonna stick with miniature. If you're a miniature centric gamer, Adepticon is the con. It's so miniatures forward, and there's so many wonderful people to meet and so many classes that to learn how to paint miniatures, and it's so miniature driven. It is a fantastic show. I highly recommend, by all means, if you can, saving up. It's totally worth the trip. You know, and just logistics. I get it. Just life and logistics. I can't teach classes in every country. There's only one. Me, not country. I would clone myself if I could, though. 100%.
Yeah, but is the thing you're doing with your clone sending them to teach classes? Or is it something else? Like, if you have a clone, Dallas, be honest. Is that your priority?
Gosh. I mean, it would be a lot more miniatures being painted, let me tell you. And I paint a lot of miniatures. I paint a lot of miniatures.
Goodbye, pile of opportunity.
I mean, let me tell you. I think my partner would kill me if there was more than one of me. You live 40 minutes from Adepticon. I realize how lucky I am when I saw others come from out of country. Oh, yeah. Adepticon is totally worth it. What a great, like I said, if you have the means, if you have the ability, it is definitely something to put on. Anybody who is like a miniature hobbyist, I'm going to use light umber. I think I'm going to use some light umber. If you're a miniature hobbyist, definitely put it on your bucket list as a show to go to. It's just so miniature centric, and there's so much to see there for miniatures and miniature gaming. So for me, as somebody who is a miniatures hobbyist, it's just so much to take in, and so much to see in the miniatures world and community. And like, there's so many wonderful artists coming from all over the world to teach classes there. And for me, I have to work. I have to work Adepticon, so I don't get to participate and take the classes. But there is definitely some that I would totally take, because you can never stop learning. You can never stop striving to be better and pushing oneself to grow and just do something like my favorite number of years. Everybody says 20 years. I've been doing it for 20 years. It doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 20 years. There's always new questions to be answered, and new paths to explore, and new ideas to experience. So, anyways, blah blah blah. Well, I don't make those calls about where events are held, so I'll pass that on. What is the most you've done in one day? The most miniatures I've painted in one day? Oh, like mathematically or actually? How many could I, or how many have I? Because I've never actually tried to sit and just paint how many can I paint in a day. But I definitely have like a how many I could do. I think that's a pretty reasonable number to come to. Let's add a little. I want to add a little yellow to that. I put the warm ochre, or the, what was it called, light ochre, into the dark ochre.
That is an interesting question, though, because I know you always talk about like the destiny of the miniature and what what you're painting for, and painting for speed. You're gonna turn out a lot more than if you're just painting for just table ready or painting for a competition. Like I think personally I have more of a sense of like how long per day can I be painting before the work starts to suffer.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who's come from a background of studio painting, like I'm fully capable of painting for 15 to 20 hours straight. Like 100%. I have to create that environment. Like I have a very specific set of circumstances that need to be circulating for that to occur, but it's very easily creatable for me, and I can paint for 15, 20 hours and just nonstop, right? And I can paint a single character miniature to a tabletop standard in an hour, right? So hypothetically, I could paint 24 hours and paint 24 miniatures. I paint miniatures for an hour on stream that are done, right? Not always. Like Plo Koon's not going to make it today, but he's going to get close. But like on a normal, like on a Saturday, like and it also depends. Like a unit is going to take way less time per miniature because I'm batch painting it. Whereas like a character, like if I'm painting Darth Vader, it's more meticulous and a lot more thought put into the process. Whereas if I'm painting, a unit of rebels for Legion, right? I'm batch painting those, and I'm not doing a high quality as I would just on Vader or just Luke Skywalker, right? Because you see them as a group, and so that's the piece of art, right? Like the piece of art is the unit, and therefore each one doesn't have to stand out as an individual, and you have to look at it as a unit and not as individuals. Whereas like Luke Skywalker is the piece of art by himself. And then when you put it all on the table, that is the single piece of art. It's like layers of the final pieces almost. So I guess, I mean, it's a flexible number, right? Like, I mean, I painted the same miniature before professionally for like 3 or 4 work days. And that's to finish one miniature, right? And those are work days. Those are, 8-hour days, lunches, breaks, doing something not working, walking over to my friend's other desk and being like, hey, what are you working on? So, yeah. Did I answer the question? I don't know if I even answered the question at this point. Y'all can tell me, was that a sufficient answer? I don't know. Scratch it, scratch it, scratch, scratch, scratch. Complexity of miniatures can, like B1s. My Shatterpoint B1s, all 6 of them took, I don't know, maybe an hour to build and like 2 hours to paint all 6. Like maybe. And that's even, I went and put freehand on them and made the eyes glow and, all that kind of stuff. So it just all determines. Yeah, and Vader himself could can take time if you're like, depending on how you're approaching it. Like I love painting black and white and yellow, because I think it's very interesting to think about how you apply color to those colors to make them not just black or not just white. And then yellow is just a tricky color. Like, it's amazing, right? What you can do with turquoise or brown and adding that to yellow to make the yellow more visually interesting. And do you do like warm yellows, or do you do desaturated yellows? There's so much to do with yellow. I find yellow a fascinating color. But Vader, making sure all the different black elements are reading different. Like, You know, when I traditionally, if I'm painting Vader, I kind of lean blues into the armor and grays onto the padded, and then I'll pick something totally off the wall to like do with the cape, like maybe more neutral, or maybe add some red down into the shadows of the cape, because the cape is so dramatic. And if there's somebody that's dramatic, it's Anakin Skywalker, let me tell you. So you want to add that drama to it. So I always try to think about how to add that drama to the characters when I'm painting them. Create that story and that visual interest. Oh yeah, this is just a mic stand with blue tack, and then my miniature is just double-sided tape to paint lid. And what this does is hinder me from painting well, but it keeps me in frame, so you're not chasing me all over the place over here. Because if I didn't have this, I would not be on camera. I'd be everywhere but the camera. Here's one some little. We want to create like that heavy texture of these Jedi robes. The Jedi robes always feel so heavy, like when you look at them. Some fancy leather boots with his pirate cuff. Ask me more questions. I'm focused on the painting. You gotta give me something to do. Oh, the spinning. Yeah, it's to me, this is not an easy thing to work with, because I like turning the miniature upside down because of different things to reach. And it's honestly, for me, better ergonomics. And I think ergonomics is something that's super important and doesn't get talked about a lot in miniature painting. You know, how to set your arms, how to posture yourself, how to keep your diaphragm open and upright. These are all things that are super important if you try to like paint for a career. The painter's slouch is really, really bad. Because it crunches up your diaphragm, it puts you in a state of stress. And if you're in a state of stress, your body is freaking out, and then you lose stamina, right? So, you know, someone who, you know, you have to suddenly paint for 8 hours a day, you really start to think about, well, how can I continue to do this? How can I, how do I maintain and stay healthy and make sure I can continue to paint for long periods of time? It's super important. So the gimbal, this is just a gimbal, we call it, is actually a little counter to my ergonomics, but what it does do is it keeps me on target for the camera, and you out there to be able to see what the heck I'm doing. Because I change posture constantly. I'm constantly changing posture. I'm constantly like moving. I constantly want to keep your body in motion without stopping.
It's also that thing where, you know, you can tell when we don't have the gimbal if we're, you know, assembling or doing something that can't fit on a gimbal. Sometimes there's a lot more, you know, stay on camera or stay on target.
Yeah,
it gets shouted from here, just because even though you think you're on the X, like the slightest move, because we're trying to capture something that's, you know,
tiny,
miniature, can mean the world for the camera or what's in focus.
Am I a out of sight, out of mind person, or am I a paint the nooks and crannies? It depends on what I'm painting for. If I'm painting for competition, there's no such thing as out of sight, out of mind. If I'm painting for competition, I'm totally expecting a judge to see every single flaw. As a judge, I have totally looked at a miniature and been like, you didn't clean the mold lines. And the person goes, what do you mean? I cleaned all the mold lines. And I flip the miniature upside down and I point out a mold line. Because I'm going to look for every mold line in a competition, but for what I'm doing, for like my own personal stuff, my philosophy is if my brush can't reach it, you can't see it. I don't have to paint every little thing. I don't have to paint the underside. It doesn't matter, right? This Plo Koon is going to go on the table, and all it has to do is bring me and my opponent joy, and has to tell a fun story while we're playing the game. Bad dice, good dice, bad plays, good plays, it doesn't matter. That's part of the story, and I need the miniature to tell the story alongside me. So that's the only thing that matters. So I won't do every little nook and cranny. I'll make my blends a little goofy. I will have more fun. I will try different colors. I will explore more. Because that's the joy of painting miniatures, right? Is exploration and doing things the way you want to do it. Follow-up question. Do you ever paint sub-assembly? Very, very rarely, Hurricane. There are times that I will, but I think that those are so rare that I don't even think I could name the last time I painted in sub-assembly. I will say that one of the miniatures that will be part of my paint class, I left part of the miniature off for the participants because it'll be easier for the participants. But if I was doing the miniature for myself, I would totally put it on. Because once again, if my brush can't reach it, yeah, if you have to, some people have to transport in sub-assembly. Like it just, to me, every miniature is a unique puzzle to grok, and so there's no answer. There's no such definitive answer to most questions of the universe. I mean, so I'm just, it's whatever works for you and whatever works for the miniature in question. Like Plo Koon here, there's definitely somebody out there that will be like, well, I don't want that lightsaber in my way when I'm painting the face. And I'm like, great, don't put the lightsaber on then. I'm like, it's for tabletop and I don't care. So it all just depends. Oh, so many questions. I love to improve my ergonomics. I only organize myself a bit tight a space in my paint station. I love what it means to squeeze in there. Definitely doesn't help me sit straight. Yeah, sitting straight is super important. Getting both elbows on the table and at the proper height, locking your wrists together, setting up straight, keeping your shoulders open and straight, and breathing slowly. All those are stress reducers, like keeps you from getting stressed, because if you're hunched over or you're uncomfortable, you get stressy and then you get fatigued and then you lose stamina and then you're done. I have so many friends I watched paint in the past and they're just like, I just can't paint for that long. I'm like, yeah, but look how you're setting. Like I couldn't set for that long doing anything. Do you paint standing at a standing desk? John, currently I'm at a standing desk. I am no longer a full-time studio painter. When I was a full-time studio painter, I painted standing up. My work desk does go back and forth between sitting and standing because I do think it's very important to go back and forth. 45 minutes standing and then like an hour sitting, I think is perfect. You don't want to do either one all day. If I were to go back in time, I wouldn't have stood the whole time as a studio painter. I would switch it more because I think it's very important to move back and forth. And then I go from wide stance to tall stance. Sometimes I pull a stool over and I put one foot up on a stool. Just doing different things to keep your body in motion to some extent, right? When you first were learning, did you put a stop time on your painting? What did you do to push yourself, but not let the perfectionist prevent completion? Oh. Whoa. Great question. How do I answer that? I'm going to pretend like I'm looking for a paint real quick. Hold on. Wow, what color paint do I need? Whoo, howdy. John, that's what we're here for. We're here for multiple reasons. We're here to hopefully be entertaining. Secondly, let you see the cool stuff coming because everybody likes the cool stuff that's coming. And B, education. I'm a firm believer of education. Just in general, blanket statement. But you know, hobby education is super important to me. And progressing the hobby and what people are capable of. I really hope, we get to see everybody. If I could have one dream, one goal, one wish, it'd be for everybody to become the painter they want to be. And so that's kind of my goal, is hopefully help people become the painter they want to be. And for some people, that's a professional level painter. For some people, it's just getting stuff on the table. So whatever I can do to help is what I want to do. Okay, what was that question? Did I put a stop time? Deadlines are important, and the more you work for companies and become a professional, the more important it is to learn how to hit a deadline. I'm definitely consider myself a lazy person, and so I'm going to find the shortest route to success is my typical goal. I want the shortest route to success. So I'm going to figure out the best way to paint something and get it done on time with the greatest visual impact possible. So yeah, learning how to hit a deadline was super important, super vital. There's something about, for me, being the person that can hit the deadline, get the job done when, everybody else thinks it might be impossible. I painted things that in a time where it was like, that's an impossible number. And I'm like, I want to do it. I want to try it. So I learned how to be fast, and I put speed and accuracy in learning those two things, how to be speedy and accurate and get the results, was super important to me. So what's that? You get one, you get 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Fast, good, and cheap?
Yeah.
Well, guess which one I'm not? deadlines are super important. Like it's something, people want to get into. People want to get into a career, and it's just like learn to hit a deadline. Man, oh man, that's like such a huge boon to any potential customer of yours. Is being a person that can just hit the deadline is man, oh man, we love that. Learning to take feedback, super important. Bad Batch, helmets or no helmets? I'm doing mine no helmets. Maybe. Now you got me questioning it. We mix gray into the brown because I like the way it looks on the cloth. All right, you're running out of time. You better get those questions in. There were some good questions today, Ann.
Listen, they gathered them up for the long winter and saved them for you.
Like little squirrels.
It's true.
They collected their nuts.
They're tiny morsels of wisdom.
Tiny morsels of wisdom.
Wisdom, more like whiz smart.
Whiz smart.
I'm sorry. I'll show myself out.
I just pick colors and hope I'll paint. I do that too. Like just get in there and just do it.
Man, probably my most fun moment we were talking about like the painting break and like getting to invest in hobby kind of like on our free time over the holiday. And I reached a point where I was like, I want to break the rules. And that's when I painted up Grievous because I was just like, I don't want to check colors. I just want to go. And that's also a different way to experience the time it takes to paint something because sometimes you just change the vibe of the experience.
I like breaking rules, but not all rules. So
Sure.
I'll break some rules. I'll break the rules of painting, but I won't break all rules. So don't ask me to break rules. L. I love breaking rules. Oh my God, I never think about how much I love breaking rules.
I know you do.
How I'm just the worst.
I've observed this of you.
As soon as somebody's like, that's a rule, I'm like, is it?
Is it?
But what's going to happen if it's not? Did you use an airbrush for terrain or hand paint at all? Airbrushing is not cheating. Airbrushing is a tool. It takes a lot of practice to do it right. And I don't do it right at all. I'm the worst airbrusher. That said, I totally airbrushed the heck out of my base coats of my terrain painting. If you go back in the Shatterpoint group, you can see my table setup. So I did like a two-tone airbrush. And then the rest is just picked up with brushes, dry brushing, glazy washes, stuff like that. But so it's typically a mix for terrain because I want to get the base coat done quick. And get that like sort of broad, what's called local color put on the terrain so I can get going next. Has your painting styles changed with advances in digital photography? Cameras pick up so much detail now. Oh my gosh, 201, and that's the question you ask? I could talk for hours on this one. When you paint for a studio, like the ones that go on the boxes, okay, I'm gonna put my brush down and you can switch it to the other camera. I'm done painting Plo Koon for now. We've done an hour. I think he needs another probably hour and he'll be done. So that's not bad for a character. Okay, when you're paying for the camera, when you're paying for the box, we actually call that painting for the camera, and it is different. It's a totally different thought of when you're painting something that's going to be photographed for the box. It's a totally different way of thinking about the miniature. You're thinking about the romance angle, or the angle that which you're going to have the miniature facing on the box. You're painting for the turnarounds and like the website and stuff like that. So when I'm painting for a tabletop, I follow the 2 T's. This is why this is important. The first T is from top of the head to the belt, shoulder to shoulder. So that's where your general focus is on a miniature, right? If I'm talking to you, right, you don't know what color my shoes are. I mean, obviously you don't, because you can't see them because it's not on the camera. But when I'm talking to you, unless I look down, I don't know what color your shoes are. I'm looking at you. I'm paying attention. I know what color your shirt is. I know what your face looks like. I know if you're wearing a hat. So the first T is from here to here, here to here. That's your first T. So when we're painting for the tabletop, I focus there. And then the second T is chin to forehead, ear to ear, or temple to temple, because that's where the second layer is. That's a second T. So you're bringing that focus to the face. Old adage of miniatures, faces and bases, right? You paint a face and make a good base, that's table ready, right? So when I'm painting for a tabletop, I might not do all the fancy stuff on shoes, and I like ignore the back of knees, and I fake a lot of stuff, right, around that. But when you're painting for the photographer, right? So Matt Furbisher, our photographer, he knows what he can and can't photograph, and I know what he wants to photograph, right? Because if you zoom in too much, you're going to see the brush strokes, depending on who paints it. But the big thing is I can't ignore the shoes, right? The studio painter can't ignore the shoes, right? Because let's say Plo Koon is your favorite character, just your favorite character. And where do we consume most of our media? We consume it on our phone, lying in bed, having existential thoughts. So the new Plo Koon image drops on AMG's website. Follow us on Twitter and or Instagram. And you see it, and you're going to analyze every little bit of it, right? So if I fake the shoes, you're going to notice it. So the studio painter has to think about what every single angle around that miniature is for the 360, and what is the end user going to view, and how can I send all that information to you and present the miniature in the best way. So it's a totally different thought process. Way different thought process. Takes a lot of training and different ways of thinking to get about there. Oh, and look at that. No other questions came in. They were just like listening to me talk about shoes. I think we did it, Ann.
Huzzah!
And we only went 5 minutes over. Not bad for our first day back.
Yeah, killing it.
Killing it. Join us tomorrow. We'll be back for another rousing episode of Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. We'll be painting something else. I don't even remember what it is, but I got prepped. It's actually ready. Plo Koon was not. I was not ready. I totally forgot. I totally missed it. Built him this morning, amazingly. But remember, for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass Games, see I'm out of practice. Check us out on Twitter and or Instagram. And until tomorrow, go be the hero you wanna be. That's what I say. Boo, boo, boo.